see. I have no idea where to put my mic, so it's just gonna sit in my lap for today.
Can you accept the recording?
No.
Brie? Stop it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can't accept your recording.
Why?
Oh, I can. Oh, is this how we normally do it? This
Yeah.
view?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to remember.
Uh,
Um,
but I really think that you should find a spot to put your mic
I
because I can
know.
hear it.
Can you? Okay. You can hear the movement.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's just, yeah. But that
Look at me
works.
sitting in your spot. I just hope you're
Hey, this
jealous.
works.
Hey, good
Do you
job.
see it? Can you
Yeah.
see it in my lap?
No?
Can you see what it's on? Okay, cool.
What is it
I don't
on? Your lap? Hey, that works.
kind of see the logo.
Whatever works, man.
We'll do that.
Yeah,
That. And if it moves too much, or if you start hearing it again, just let me know.
I will. I gotta
Okay.
pull up my um a neighborhood story.
Oh my gosh.
What?
I didn't even do that. Let me grab that.
Birdie. I like that we both had a burping moment.
Oh, do we do it at the same time?
Yeah, it was disgusting humans. You like my headphones?
Yeah, I was wondering where you got them.
They're Alice's. Not gonna lie. Um, what am I saying? My headphones, like the little earbuds, are in my carry-on bag, which is like I took everything out of it, but I forgot about my headphones. My carry-on bag is in the sunroom, which the doors are closed to it, so if I open them, they're gonna wake up Brick.
Yeah.
So
Let the baby sleep.
let the baby sleep.
They always
Uh,
say, don't wake a sleeping husband.
they say something like that. I have a story
Okay.
whenever you're ready. Oh,
I'm
hi
ready. I'll look for a
everyone.
story in a little bit. Hello, everyone.
This is our true crime paranormal podcast, What's with the Neighbors? That is Bree.
Yep, and that's Amy.
And
We're on
uh
Zoom this
we're
week.
on Zoom.
We have to be
Yay.
separated because Bree went and got sick.
Yeah, why'd you have to go
Yay!
do that, Bree?
I don't know. COVID's stupid.
COVID stupid. Do you like my new cup?
Yeah, it's really cute. I was wondering. It just dawned on me what it actually is. It's a, it's a cup. Even though I saw you drinking out of it, I tell you, I'm so like not here in my head.
It's a Starbucks cup, Walt Disney World 50th anniversary.
Oh my God.
Starbucks cup.
Oh my gosh, that's really nice. Dude, Starbucks has the cutest freaking Halloween cups right
I
now, and I want them
know.
all. I want the purple one so bad. I was so tempted to buy one last week.
So it's funny that you mentioned that because I was there this morning and they have that green, dark green one that I want really bad. And I sent it to my sister and I was like, I want it because she has it. And so she sent me money. She's like, treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
So I
Ah,
get to go get it.
thanks,
But
sis.
yeah,
Yay.
yeah. Now I used to collect these like all the time, but I don't know
They're
what I
really
did with all
fun.
of them.
They're
Mm-hmm.
like perfect for iced coffee.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I have my big jug, but it's hard to carry that around when I go to stores.
Yeah, and
I
that looks fancier.
obviously, Avi,
Obviously.
obviously. So who's going first this week? I went first last
I
week.
don't have a neighborhood story. Oh, do you want to
Okay.
tell your neighborhood story so I can go first?
Yes,
And I'll look for one in the
absolutely.
meantime.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
So, I actually got this neighborhood story off of Facebook. Um, I asked, it's in a Facebook group called I Hate My Neighbors.
Oh,
And
fun.
I
I'm
asked
part of a
people
lot of those.
I asked people for neighborhood stories, and this one they said we covered some holes up on our fence, so our neighbor complained that she couldn't spy on us anymore. Then went and started making more holes and pulling the fence panels down. And yeah, that's it. But
People are so spiteful. That is so rude.
like, could you imagine just someone pulling? You're like, what are you doing? I can't spy on you anymore, so I'm pulling these down. Like, no, thank you.
Oh wait,
I
so
I
oh my
pass.
gosh.
Could you
I wonder if they
imagine?
like told the cops.
I'm sure they
That's an
did.
invasion of privacy.
I wish that they went more into detail, but I did not ask. So,
Yeah, but that's still like that's sketchy.
yeah, dude. I have to
Creeper.
have one ear off because I can't hear
Yeah, I
otherwise.
can't think. Thank you.
Yeah,
That reminded me. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I
Is
forgot that
it's
that worked. That it works better that way.
yeah, it's like all I hear is myself
I
talking and
feel
I
like I'm yelling.
yeah,
I need to make sure I can control the tone of my voice.
exactly. Exactly. So what story are you sharing this week?
I'm sharing a story. What?
Oh my gosh, please tell me
So,
you got a story.
um,
We're
is
not
this the right
only
one?
are
Oh
we
my God, I hope this is
doing
the right one.
this on Zoom, we're also doing it 3 days later than we normally do it.
Yeah,
And it's on a weekday, so it's weird for us. This is
yeah,
a weird, weird moment.
yeah. Not to mention, I'm not like, I mean, I'm sure you're not either because you just got off of being on vacation and you're still probably settling in, but I'm still not in the right headspace. Like, I had to, I don't know what things are right now. Like, I'm telling you, COVID's stupid. I, I, what did I forget the dumbest things. Like, I asked my sister told me something about their brand new, or that the fact that they're selling their house, and she had texted me during COVID, and I was like, she was like, oh, so we ended up selling it. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And I reacted and everything. And then a couple days later, she's like, yeah, so now that the house is listed or now that the house is sold. And I'm like, what? Your house is sold? And she's like, yeah, I told you this already. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even
I
remember.
forgot.
Like, I remember this, but I don't. I
It
don't know.
wipes you out, dude.
It does. My dad said even months later, he couldn't remember the name. Like, he'd be in mid conversation and he can't remember the name of like something that's simple, like remote control.
Yeah.
Just something stupid. You just get like very foggy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
some
just,
people it doesn't go away.
yeah, I bet. Like with Rick,
Well,
especially since he had it so severely. I
yeah,
can't imagine.
I got used to listening in on conversations that he's having because that he'll have with people like on the phone or in person because he'll just like completely just go blank and I'm like it was summer of
Yeah.
2011 and like I have to tell him like the details.
It's wild.
So,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Tears you apart, or not tears you apart, tears you down.
Tears you
Good though.
down.
Ain't gonna get me down.
Yep.
So, you want to know what will get you down, but you can get back up again. Uh, the Birdcage Theater in Arizona, Tombstone,
A
Arizona.
a bird cage
Birdcage
theater.
Theater. It's called the Birdcage. It's not actually a birdcage. I'll go over why it's called
But
that.
how cool would that be if it was like a stage that was like in the middle and it was kind of like a bird cage and that's where people like
It
performed.
sounds gross. Sounds disgusting. Sounds like it's very unsanitary.
Why?
Salmonella.
No,
Because
not a real
birds
bird
are gross.
cage. Not a real one. Like it's like a stage and it looks like
Okay,
a big old dome
I'm picturing
bird
like,
cage.
okay, freak show, like a freak show type thing with like a half human, half bird in a cage, like pooping out eggs. That's what I was picturing.
You're on a whole other planet than me.
Uh,
Okay, go ahead.
so, let's get into the history. Back in 1877, the town of Tombstone, what a cool name, first of all.
Yeah.
The town of Tombstone, Arizona, was born after an abundance of silver was discovered. The town flourished and grew almost overnight. It's
Oh
just
my
one of
gosh.
those mining towns. What? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um, so obviously it was flooded with miners, saloons, stores, hotels, and of course it's the Old West, so brothels.
Yeah.
Can't have the Old West without those.
Nope.
In December of 1881, a man named Bill and his wife Lottie Hutchinson, who was also he was also a performer, I guess, a former performer.
Okay.
That
A
sounds
former
weird.
performer.
Former performer. It's his past. He built the Birdcage Theater for just $600.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's really cheap,
But how
but it's
did
also in
you
1881.
look
I
up how much?
didn't.
I need to
I
know.
know. Well, it only goes back so far, the one that I use. It doesn't go back past like 1902, I think is the furthest it'll go back.
$600
Yes.
in 1802.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Still pretty cheap.
Yeah, $14,103.38.
I mean, that's a decent amount for a
For a
business.
theater? That's so cheap.
It wasn't a very big theater. It wasn't
Oh,
huge. So, I
okay.
mean, from all the looks of it, it's not humongous. And it was a very it's a very small town. So,
Okay. 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 I'll give it to them.
he intended it to be a place for family-friendly entertainment, something that was becoming popular in like New York and San Francisco. As a marketing tactic, he hosted a ladies' night, and unexpectedly, things did not go as planned. No families or wealthy women showed up. However, miners did, and they were looking for a different kind of entertainment.
What
So,
if it was called Ladies' Night and he was
I mean,
expecting families to be there?
I know, I mean, like ladies' night is just for a cheaper, like to get more of a crowd in there for a cheaper
Yeah.
price. So, I mean, I always thought night meant something dirty, but I don't think it
Yeah.
does anymore. Or I don't think it does at all. I think it's just to get into someplace cheaper
Yeah.
for
That makes
women.
sense. Oh, I see what you're
Yeah. Like
saying.
ladies get in for free or
Yeah.
ladies get
Yeah.
in half. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it didn't go as he had planned. Tombstone just didn't have that crowd, that family-friendly crowd. So Bill gave in and he turned it into a saloon, which ended up turning into like a also a brothel. Uh, he kept the Great Hall as a stage and turned the upstairs rooms into a motel, and the basement was made into a poker room.
Oh, fun.
Every day shows were held, one of the first being a performance given by a Madame Michelle de Grenville. I totally butchered that, aka the
Sounds right.
female Hercules. That's the
Oh.
most important part. With the iron jaw. Her shows consisted of lifting heavy objects with her teeth.
Oh my
I know
gosh.
that just cringe. That's like the same thing with like shoelaces with me. Like, ugh, teeth. Ugh. Another known show was called The Human Fly, where women dressed up in tight black clothing and wore special shoes that clamped to the ceiling and they walked upside down. I'm
How
gonna go back to
fun.
that one later. Yeah,
Because
super
you're
fun.
gonna dress up like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I'm
cool,
gonna
cool,
do
cool,
a
cool,
special
cool.
show.
Yay, thank
That
you.
sounds, that's not this kind of podcast, guys. Sorry. Other shows involved singing, comic duos, dancers, and after the shows were over around 1 a.m., people could stay and dance as long as they wanted. There were balconies at the top of the halls that looked like bird cages. There were 14 of them that they were just like, so they like kind of like hung over like the main hall.
Mhm.
Like, they bulged out on either side, and then there's, like, these separate little rooms, and there's 14 of them, and they were kinda had, like, a little bird cage shape to them.
Okay.
Um, but
Kind of
in the
is it I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. Would it be like um when you go to, like, a theater and there's, like, seats up ab like, on the sides up above? Not seats, but,
Yeah, kind of,
like where
yeah.
Abraham died? Abraham Lincoln?
No, no.
Like
Look it up.
okay.
It'll clear the picture for you. Um, but they, like, overhung they yeah, it's like a balcony, almost like a balcony, but also not. You'll figure it out.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
So they had those, and in those were erotic dancers inside of them to entertain men on the floor. And these women played many roles, including waitressing, dancing, and even playing in the role of a sex worker or they had lots of names for them then. Obviously, Lady of the Night was one. What was the other fun one that it wasn't fun one, but it was kind of a fun, it was different. I never heard of it, but Zach Bagans used it a lot.
I
Ah,
s
what was it?
I see
You
now.
see
It's
it?
almost kinda like rooms,
Yeah,
open
yeah, they
rooms.
are. Yeah, they're like little private viewing rooms.
Yeah, that's cool.
So along with these shows, the Birdcage Theater was the setting of the longest poker game ever held, which lasted from 1881 to 1889,
Oh
where
my
poker was
gosh.
continuously played and the theater was open for 24 hours a day.
For
About
9
$10
8
million,
years.
$10 million was wasted on this game, and only
Wasted?
10% of it went towards the theater.
Oh my gosh.
As many may know, poker games, especially in the Wild Wild West, could become heated, so
Sure.
brawls would obviously go down. Find and You could find at least 148 bullet holes in the walls of
Oh
the
my
theater,
gosh.
estimating around 16 gunfights between some of the most famous cowboys, including Wyatt Earp, Johnny Ringo, and Doc Holliday, giving the Birdcage Theater the reputation of the wildest and most deranged theater between New Orleans and San Francisco. Legend has it that throughout its operation, the Birdcage Theater had seen 26 deaths.
Oh my
Eventually,
gosh.
in 1886, the Hutchinsons sold the theater to a Mr. Bignon, who for a short time used the saloon for ventriloquists, magicians, trapeze acts, but the main attractions were his wife, who was 6 foot tall and 230 pounds,
Oh my
and they called
gosh.
her Big Minnie. She was
Oh.
not only an attraction in pink tights, but also a bouncer with a no nonsense attitude. I
Alright.
felt the need to include her in this because I thought that was awesome. The birdcage was eventually sold off in 1892 due to the demise of the town when silver mining soon came to an end after the river flooded the mines.
Right.
The town of Tombstone was no longer the booming town it was, and the theater was forced to close its doors for good. And in 1934, the Hurley family reopened the theater to the public and preserved it as a historic landmark.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
So I found a little news clipping talking about it from 1882, and it's from the Arizona Daily Star. And they reported that from its name, anyone would be led to believe it was the abode of canaries. But to the contrary, it is the cat's retreat.
Oh.
I have heard of cats capturing the canary, but these cats capture bald heads and gilliless youth. I
Oh,
thought that was a fun news report
that's
or
cute.
news article. Yeah. Um, so a note that was, I don't know if it still is, that's why I say was on display at the theater, I found was really neat, said that it was below some bullet holes, and it said these 3 bullet holes were made by a drunken cowboy who one night shot an actor. These shots missed and lodged here below the stage. So I
Oh
just
my,
wanted to let you know what you're getting into. Like, this is the place that it was. Like, people just shot people for no reason.
that's really sad.
I know. During the famous human fly act, told you we'd come back to it, one of the performers' clamps failed while walking upside down and fell to her death on the stage in front of the audience.
I knew
And
that
that
was
was
gonna
the last
happen.
of that act. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. It's so terrible. Like, oh my God.
First off, that's putting a lot of trust in a pair of
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's like Mission Impossible. It's ahead of its time.
Ow! I'm okay.
Are you good?
Yeah, I just hurt my foot.
Oh, I'm
I'm good.
sorry.
It's okay.
A theater
Wait,
performer. Yeah, I'm still here.
it says our meeting's gonna end in 10 minutes.
What the F? Oh, yeah, I see that. Why does it say that?
Probably because we're not upgraded. They just recently changed it where you have to pay for more time.
What do you want to do?
We'll keep going for 10 minutes and then we'll stop and then start again,
Redo?
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Keep
We
going.
can we can opt to pay for it, especially for
Now.
next week.
Next week. Yeah.
This week. Sorry. Our next guest. Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that too.
Oh, might as well. Hold on. Upgrade to pro.
How
Yeah,
much is
because I
it?
don't want to. I don't know. I just don't want to make him do, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so, mm, sorry.
You're fine. Don't cry.
Sign up for free. Okay, come on. Here we go.
Excuse me.
How do I upgrade? Here we go.
Glad you saw that.
Yeah. Come back to pro for 30% off. All right. Why is this taking so long? Oh, okay, so it's $14 a month.
I'm sending you moolah.
Okay, so how do I start checkout? Shopping cart. Come on, dude. Start checkout. Okay. I click start checkout and it has like a arrow over it. Like, no, you can't do that. Oh, here we go. There we go. Why is it being ridiculous?
Do you want to restart? Do you want to stop this and redo it? Or not redo it, but like Go back off?
No, it's just not, it's not letting me go to, um, like it says, uh, like there's a discount applied and it says that I'm not eligible for it. Okay, let's try it this way.
You're not eligible for it. Zoom.
There it goes. Okay.
Have you ever watched that lava short on Disney
Yeah.
Plus? I have heard the song a million times on like Pandora Disney Radio,
Uh-huh.
and I never actually listened to it, and I've never seen it before. And Charlotte made me watch it today. It is so
It
sweet.
is very
It is
sweet.
so cute. I was like, it's a love story. It's such a beautiful story.
What are we doing? Okay, so did it work? Continue. Place order. We're probably gonna have to start this one. Stop this one and start it over.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where you stopped?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna stop it real quick.
Okay. I converted that YouTube converter thing.
Yeah.
Um, so when I did it, it told me to download a certain web browser, and I did. Opera. You ever heard of it?
Uh-uh.
Yeah. Apparently it's like a big one, but apparently it's a big one for viruses with Mac, and that's what downloaded viruses all over my Mac.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But luckily I can like they're gonna check it like once a month, and then they're gonna like cover me for like a whole year. So
So you have to bring it in once a month?
no, they do it over online, like where they take
Oh.
control over my computer.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? Josh is like, why did you do that for YouTube Converter? He's like, why would you have done that? And I was like, I don't know how this stuff works. I just thought I was
I just
doing the right
did
thing. I
it.
don't know. Oh, it's good now.
Oopsies.
It's good. I'm glad. I'm glad I was able to get that.
Yeah,
I'm
me
glad they
too.
could fix it over the phone too. That was really convenient.
Yeah, no kidding. Sorry.
Okay, so I left off with the human fly and someone died. So, uh
And they stopped doing that now.
yes, they stopped the human fly. At one point, a theater performer and sex worker, Margarita,
Margarita.
was
Don't do
sitting
that,
in the
Amy.
lap of a gambler named Billy Milgreen during a poker game. Margarita gave Billy a kiss on the cheek and was pulled off his lap by her hair and thrown to the floor by another sex worker
Oh my.
and Billy's lover named Little Gertie the Gold Dollar. And this is probably like the most known story there. Gertie then
Whoa.
grabbed her stiletto, aka a knife, not a shoe. Because I did this entire time. I'm like, Jesus, freaking thug life. She killed her ass with a shoe. She grabbed it from her garter and stabbed Margarita in the heart, killing her instantly.
Wait, so it wasn't a shoe?
No. Nope. I 1,000% thought that she stabbed her with her stiletto shoe.
Why'd they
And
say
I was
the
like, damn,
stiletto?
Gertie. Because a stiletto is a knife.
Oh.
Yeah, I had to ask Josh. I'm like reading it. I'm like, that doesn't. I was like, damn. I was like, that's pretty messed up. She stabbed her with her shoe. I'm like,
That is
Josh,
some thug stuff.
yeah. I was like, is a stiletto a shoe? I was like, is a stiletto a gun? I was like, is that another name for a gun? He's like, no, a stiletto's a knife. And I was like, that makes a lot more sense, especially since she pulled it out of her garter. That was the part that
Yeah.
was throwing me. I was like, there's no way she just had this shoe in her garter as like a weapon. That was what my brain, COVID brain.
I'm gonna
I'm going to
whip
blame
out this
everything on that now.
stiletto and just stab you from my
Whoosh.
garter.
And in 1982, the shoe, what they believed was the shoe from it, was found during an excavation behind the theater and is now displayed in the theater, said to be the weapon to kill Margarita.
All right. Don't mess
Uh,
with little silver dollar.
Little Gertie Gold Dollar.
Gold dollar.
No, she's not little. She's Lil Gertie Gold Dollar.
Little Gertie
Dollar.
gold dollar. Gertie, Gertie gold dollar.
Uh, another entertainer named man, I suck at names. Carmelita Jimenez at the Birdcage poisoned herself with arsenic. And it was
Why?
the arsenic was called Rough on Rats because it was rat poison in
It was also rough
1888.
on her.
And right,
Hmm,
Rough on Carmelita. Wow, really sensitive in this story. She was
sorry.
found throwing up by her boyfriend after he came home from work, and her boyfriend and her cousin took her to the doctors, but there was nothing that could be done at this point, and she had died. That night, the theater had shut its doors in honor of her.
Oh my gosh. So do you think that she meant to kill herself?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
She took poison.
Rough on
I don't
rats.
know why though. I don't know if she had like something going on or I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
sure she
that's sad.
did. She probably just lived a really sad life if she was an
Yeah.
entertainer there.
Yeah.
Her best friend was probably the fly.
The fly girl.
Yeah. Or the fall girl.
The free. Oh my.
Now, with all these gunfights that occurred in the saloon, Tombstone often would send the Black Mora, sorry, a hearse that worked for the Boot Hill Cemetery. They would often bring bodies from the saloon and bring them to the cemetery after they died, obviously.
Oh my
The hearse
gosh.
is on display now in the saloon or in the theater, and it had brought all but six bodies to the cemetery. All 26, so all but six out of the 26 bodies to the cemetery.
Oh my
So that
gosh.
hearse has seen a lot, and it's in the theater.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's weird
Um,
that they have a dedicated hearse for the
Yeah.
saloon, but
Well, I mean, it was dedicated towards the cemetery, but like they were like, gotta go to work. Where you going tonight? Same place as last night, the
they just
Birdcage.
hit their rounds.
Yeah. They hit like two places in town. As let's talk about some ghosty things.
Yay.
In the 1980s, a William Hunley, the owner at the time, conducted a seance at the Birdcage Theater. He had hired a psychic who had suspected some foul play in the building, and during the seance, something began to strangle Mr. Hunley and didn't end until they broke the psychic from her trance, leaving him with a bruised neck for 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's serious.
Yeah.
On one occasion, an antique poker chip had disappeared and reappeared into thin air. To keep it safe, the owner had locked it in a vault and he wanted to have it checked out by like a professional for like authenticity. And
Mm-hmm.
when they went to retrieve it, it was missing.
Oh my gosh.
Ba, ba,
You
ba,
don't think
ba.
someone stole it?
It reappeared after they left.
That's weird.
Just
It
like,
didn't want to be checked for its
yeah, they're
authenticity.
like, this is ours.
Yeah.
Just like so many other places, the Birdcage Theater had a woman in white. Many have seen her, especially employees. One employee had said, I've seen her. She came down the stairwell and into the poker room. She wore a white dress and a white bonnet. She stood in front of me for a very long time, not reacting to my presence as if she didn't know I was there.
Oh my gosh.
She's what they call a residual haunt.
Oh. Interesting.
Other things include full body apparitions and clothings from that time period,
Uh-huh.
former cowboys in hats, sex workers, a stage assistant that once worked there had been seen in black and white striped pants holding a clipboard.
Oh.
The apparition of a naked woman was seen going into the wine cellar. That is me. That's where I would die.
But
Go
how
get
what
more
a bummer
wine.
to die naked.
Yeah, that's really sad.
They're like, "Dang it,
Yeah.
can't believe I'm
Ugh, it's
dying
constantly
naked."
cold.
It's constantly cold.
Yeah. And just uncomfortable because you're naked.
Yeah, and
Um,
even though no one can see you, you're still like, "I don't wanna be naked."
I put my butt in everybody's faces.
Of course you would.
Obviously, overwhelming feeling of despair when you go into there is commonly felt.
Mhm.
Smells of cigars, cigar smoke, and whiskey. Yum. The sound of singing is often heard. Disembodied voices, laughing, and even someone saying your name. The sound of dice rolling and cards being shuffled. And visitors have claimed to have been pushed and touched.
Oh my gosh.
As of today, you can visit the historic town of Tombstone and venture back in time to the Birdcage Theater where all the original furnishings and props have been left as if it's frozen in time. They
Wow, that's
provide
really cool.
they provide guided and self-guided tours day and night if you wish at nighttime. Of course, I did some Yelp I'm scared reviews. The first is from a Julia who gave 5 stars.
Very well.
Oh, and all these have the word orbs in them, and I'm sorry, but I searched really hard for reviews and like you can type in like a keyword to
Uh-huh.
narrow down your search and nothing was popping up and I was like I searched orbs and all this stuff popped up and I was like, "Okay, cool." So, these are just clippings from their reviews. It's not the whole thing. Julia gave 5 stars and she said, after you get the chance to get through and take all the pictures you could ever want, they turn off all the lights and you get the chance to experience more paranormal side of things. You sit in the dark room and see what happens. We personally saw shadows, saw orbs, and heard lots of noise coming from areas that nobody was in.
Okay.
This one is from an SC and they gave 5 stars. And they said there were 13 of us. Some woman from South Carolina she said that she had saw orbs flying over my head or flying by my head. This cannot be faked. The guide turned out the lights upstairs, played music, and there were no windows. It was a blast. So there's like no lights in there at all during this. So there's no way there could have been orbs flying by their head unless it were something unexplained.
Right.
C Moto said they gave 5 stars and they said that evening at 8 p.m. we went back and did the ghost tour. There was 10 of us for the ghost tour and we sat in the dark and asked questions. Some of the people got some orbs. I got what I think is a silhouette of a lady. It's weird looking, but it really does look like a period dress lady. And we heard some knocking sounds all in all, I had a great time and would go back every time I am in Tombstone.
Oh, that's cool.
And that is the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona. And I
Tombstone,
believe that
Arizona.
was on the map.
Yeah, it is. Good
Yay!
job, Bree. You did it.
I did it.
That one was fun.
Yeah, I thought so too. I've heard it before, but it was fun relearning everything.
Yeah. I for some reason really like it when it involves cowboys.
Yeah, yeah, it's just a,
Did
what?
you hear that?
No.
Accidentally hit the hat box ghost
Oh,
and
that's
it went
weird that I
off.
didn't hear that.
Just really good sound.
Yayer.
Yay.
What? We're like professionals using professional mics,
I
and
know.
yet we're just now figuring out our sound.
Listen here. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you my story, but it's been a story that I've wanted to do since the beginning of our podcast.
Ooh.
Uh, but when I was and I know this story from like the back of my hand because it's very recent.
Okay.
However, it's been covered by just about every podcast that I've ever listened to. Um, and but that's not why I know it. I just know it because it was very like the presence of it was very the story was very um it was spoken about quite often and it still is
Okay.
on social media. But I do want to apologize to you ahead of time.
You're not forgiven. Wait,
Okay.
do I know this story?
I don't think you know the severity of like I don't think you know the details of this story, but I just want to apologize because it might hit a
Does it involve
little.
children?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
It's
And
okay.
in my notes I say, first off, apologize to Brie because it's gonna make her cry.
Yeah, it's okay.
So
I think I know which story you're talking about.
I'm gonna tell you about the Watts family.
Yeah. I think that's the Colorado?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only heard it once, so and
Yeah.
I didn't even hear the story. I've only seen it. Like I saw like a documentary on it. I've never
Oh
actually heard
yeah.
the full
Yeah.
story on it. I
Um,
didn't want to.
what is it called? Like the neighbors next I forgot what it's
Yeah, yeah, on
called.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
drop in people. It's a
yeah.
bumpy
So
one,
I
but it's a
wanted
good one.
it is a good one. I wanted to do something that I was familiar with since I was doing this story a couple weeks ahead of time. So I was like, well, maybe this is a good time to finally do this story.
Yeah,
So I'm also not going to cover everything in the story, like all the minor details I'm not going to put in because other podcasts have done
it's
it
been
and
there.
it's
Yeah.
been, yeah, it's been said. So Christopher Watts was born on May 16th, 1985 in Spring Lake, North Carolina to the parents of Cindy and Ronnie Watts. He had one sister. Had a pretty average upbringing, nothing to report back home to. Suzanne, I'm going to say her, Shanann
Shanann.
Shanann.
Was
Uh,
it Shanann or Shannon?
it's Shanann.
Okay.
Rzucek was born on January 10th, 1984, and she grew up in Moore County, North Carolina. She was the oldest daughter of Frank and Sandy. Last name. I'm so sorry. I
It's
don't
fine.
want to.
Just go R.
Sandy R.
Yeah.
Okay. And they were a
Shanann
happy
R.
family of four. She also kind of had a normal upbringing, like nothing exciting to report back home to, sort of thing. She was diagnosed with lupus at the age of 26.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, she was feeling pretty low. And with all of her health problems, she decided to just, you know what, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do what's making me happy. Shortly after she quit her job, she got a friend's request from Chris. And she was like, why not? We have mutual friends. What the
They're
heck?
both from the Carolinas.
Yeah. So she accepted his friend's request and he sent Shanann a Facebook message and she was hesitant. She was like, know about this. Um, she wasn't positive on their future, but eventually they started dating and got married in 2012. And a few months later, they moved to Drederick, Colorado after vacationing there and realizing her lupus symptoms were less there.
Oh,
So they're like, you know what? Maybe we should move here. So they did. Uh,
Probably taking away the humidity.
yeah. So Chris got a job in the oil field as a supervisor. And in December of 2013, their first daughter was born. And a year and a half later, they had their second daughter, Cece, in July of 2015.
It's a cute name.
Yeah. Short for Cecilia, I believe, or yeah, I think so. In 2018, Shannon broke the news to Chris that they had a third baby on the way. And it was a baby boy, and they decided to name him Nico. August 2018, Nicole Atkinson and Shanann were two best friends, went to Arizona for a convention for a multi-level marketing company, Lavelle. They both worked for. Normally, Shanann was, her super bubbly and outgoing, but during the trip, she was exhausted and just not feeling herself, probably because she was pregnant.
Yeah, and had
And her
lupus.
lupus, yeah.
Yeah.
So coming home from the trip, Nicole dropped Shanann off at her house at 1:48 a.m. on August 13th. Later that morning, after they had gotten some rest, Nicole called Shanann to ask how she was feeling. And, she knew that Shanann had a prenatal appointment she had to go to first thing in the morning. So she called to, like, how did the appointment go? How are you feeling? I know you had a rough couple days. And Shanann didn't answer her phone, didn't text her back, which was super out of character for Shanann. And so Nicole knew in her gut something was wrong. Uh, she actually went by the house, but still had no response at the doors. And since Shanann's vehicle was still in the garage, she called Chris. And Chris was like, oh, well, they went somewhere for the day. Don't be alarmed. It's no big deal. And Nicole, like the good best friend she is, she's like, no, maybe I should call the police. Chris said, no, I will come home. Don't call anybody.
So
And
he just told her that he assumed that they went somewhere?
yeah.
Okay. Like
And
you're concerned with your wife
yeah.
and
And he's
children?
like, oh no, they went somewhere for the day. Like, and Nicole's like, no, that's not, she doesn't just go places for the day without telling anybody and leaving her
Okay.
vehicle in the car.
You know that. I don't just go places either.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you know when to check up on me.
I will. I
I
promise,
got you
buddy.
back, buddy.
uh, and so Chris told Nicole, don't call anybody, don't call the police. And Nicole's like, nah, I'm calling the police. So at 1:42 p.m., why'd you have to do that?
Sorry. I just
It's
sniffle
okay.
anyway.
So at 1:42 p.m., a police officer responded for a wellness check. She greeted the officer, and was like, the shoes she wears every day are still by the door. Chris said that they went on a play date, but why would she go on a play date with her daughters that are 4 and 2 without the car seats and without the car?
Yeah.
Where did they
Where'd you
go?
go?
At the
Would you
park? Did
walk?
they walk without your shoes that you wear every day?
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
after 2 p.m., Chris showed up and let everyone in. And the officer, Nicole, found her purse with her daily medication in it and her Apple Watch she wears daily and her suitcase unpacked. Upstairs, they found Chris and Shanann's bed sheets were also stripped. So
Odd.
then, yeah, Chris approached the officers with evidence. He said he found her wedding ring by her bedside. And Chris mentioned that when he last talked to Shanann, she told him she was going to take the girls to stay at a friend's house. But he claimed that he called everyone and blah, blah, blah. But he claimed that when he called everyone, no one knew where she was or had heard from her.
And he didn't know where she was.
Yeah.
So now you know where she is all of a sudden?
Right, exactly.
Get your story straight.
Get your right from the straight out of the gate, the dude was already messing up. A neighbor approached the officers after getting wind of her missing and told them that he had security cameras that recorded 24/7. So they all
Thanks,
go
neighbors.
so they go over to the neighbor's house who had the footage pulled up on his TV, and they found at 5:45 a.m. that morning they found Chris backing up into his driveway with the bed of his truck partially backed into the garage. And Chris claimed that he had issues with people stealing things from his truck, so he was loading everything into his truck that morning to head to work, which is plausible, but
Yeah, but that's weird.
and
Every day you're just gonna put things in your truck and go to work?
yeah, that's normally what people do, Brie.
I would just do something about it. Like, trust my security system.
Um, did so the documentary or yeah, I think it was the documentary on Netflix. Uh, if you watch like his demeanor during the footage of him watching the footage over at his neighbor's house, his demeanor is like he's super fidgety. He couldn't hold still and constantly
Yeah.
giving reasons why he was doing what he was doing in the footage. Um, and the video didn't give an answer as to what happened to Shanann and the girls. So they all start to leave, but before the officers left, the neighbors stopped the officers to say that almost said Rick, Chris wasn't acting right. So the neighbor claimed that that's not the type of person that he is. You know, he's not that type of person to be like fidgety and stuff like that.
Right.
Um,
Thank God for neighbors.
yeah, dude. What's with the neighbors?
You guys be nosy all you want.
Yeah, you should be. Should be.
There's a reason why we're nosy.
Yeah, exactly. As for Shanann, she was always on social media. She would go live constantly, share videos, post pictures of her family and her lifestyle. Um, and if you were to judge, you know, their life strictly off of social media, you would think that they had a perfect loving relationship and a perfect family dynamic. However, that was not how it was off of social media after interviewing her friends and family. So the detectives discovered that Shanann and her two girls actually went back to North Carolina for 5 weeks in July of 2018, and Chris didn't go with them. Thinking that he was going to have, you know, a staycation from the family, he ends up acting super weird. While Shanann was in Arizona, she saw on their credit card at a restaurant that he couldn't have had. Hold on, let me redo that sentence. Um, so Chris thought that, you know, while the girls were gone and his wife were gone, he was gonna like have a little staycation. And he started acting like super weird towards Shanann. And uh Shanann even noticed on her credit card statement while she was in Arizona that Chris had gone to a restaurant and paid for a bill that like added up way more than what it would be if he was just there by himself.
Right. He was treating
So
himself.
yeah, but like way more
That
than you would think.
that would be me. Oh yeah, I had steak, I had dessert, and I had 2 drinks.
So she called him when she was in Arizona and, you know, she was like, "What's this? What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, I was at a baseball game, then stopped for a meal and was by myself. And no, I was not with anybody else." Which I don't think she believed. But the investigators brought in cadaver dolls, dogs.
I was about to
Whoops.
say, they make those?
They make
That's
cadaver
creepy.
dolls. No,
Cadaver dolls.
it says dolls, but I meant dogs. The investigator brought in dogs and they searched the place and ended up finding the bed sheets that belonged to the master bedroom balled up into the trash. Kitchen trash.
Okay.
So a reporter, Thomas Hopbug, Hopio, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, um, that was involved since day one, mentioned in a documentary that I watched, not the one on Netflix, a different one, said he showed up to the scene, was only expecting to talk with Chris's friend Nick, but was given the chance to interview Chris himself. So during the interview, he asked, "Did you guys get in an argument?" And Chris actually said it wasn't an argument, but it was an emotional discussion.
Okay.
So
So
then
you just
Chris,
admitted to it?
mm-hmm, then Chris looked into the camera and pleaded for the girls to come home, that the house was not full without them there. And Thomas said after the questioning, him and his cameraman looked at each other and felt weirded out by the way he addressed the situation. Because, like, just like all of us, he's like, we got in an emotional argument or discussion, and then looked at the camera and was like, please come home.
Like,
I don't know. Like, it was weird. They didn't like it. They just felt weirded out by it. So suddenly, law enforcement got a call from a woman named Nicole Kessinger. She said she had information and she had met Chris in the past, but they started meeting for drinks and hanging out in June of 2018.
oh. Wasn't that when she was gone?
Yep. She was aware of his children and he was currently in the process of separating from his wife.
Oh.
Police found evidence to back up their relationship, emails, cards he had sent her with notes and song lyrics and texts. He claimed he was getting a divorce, and Nicole offered to help get them an apartment or get him an apartment for him and the girls.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
So she didn't know.
yeah, I don't know. So it turns out that the dinner he claimed he had alone with her, alone when Shanann was in Arizona, was in fact a dinner date with Nicole. Uh, or I
Surprise,
should say
surprise.
Nikki. So on August 15th, investigators decided to focus on Chris's movements on the 13th, like where he stopped along his work routes. While they were investigating the fields, they also brought him in for a lie detector test, and the results came back. He did not pass.
But
And
those aren't, they can't be used, right?
I don't think that they can be used.
They're not reliable.
Correct. They're not reliable. They're normally dismissible in court. Uh, I don't think you can use it as a confession either.
Okay.
Um, and so they sat him down. They're like, listen, these are the results of the lie detector test. And he was like eerily calm about it. They told him the only way the girls left the house that morning was in his truck. And then told him his work truck that he uses has a GPS that pings every 10 seconds. So it will give them an exact location of where he could have possibly left the girls, which ended up being the location on one of his oiled sites. I'm sorry. They
It's
found
okay.
a bed sheet that matched the bed sheet that they found in the kitchen trash. After hours of questioning, Chris finally confessed that he was having an affair with Nikki, but obviously the investigators already knew that. So they're
Right.
like, all right, tell us something else. Then Chris finally says, I will tell you what you want to know if you let me talk to my dad. So they bring in Ronnie Watts. And Chris tells his dad, I don't want to protect her, but she hurt them. He claimed that Chris claimed that his wife Shanann killed both their girls on the baby, and he witnessed it on the baby monitor. She had choked them to death in their beds, so he ended up doing the same thing to her. So at this point, the agents come in and they say, listen, show us where the bodies are. So he shows them where the bodies are on the site, on the site where his truck had pinged up. He told them that the girls were in the two oil tanks and Shanann had been buried a few yards away with their unborn baby. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
God. It's okay.
On August 15th, 2018, at 11:30 p.m., Chris was arrested on suspicion for 3 counts of first-degree murder. And on August 18th, 2018, Chris was charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder, one count of unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a deceased body.
I was going to ask about the pregnancy. If that,
Yeah.
I guess that doesn't count because they weren't born yet as
And,
murder, like a
well,
first degree.
well, it was an unlawful termination.
Right, right.
So I don't know how many years he
Good.
would get for
Well, I'm
something
glad they
like
got
that,
him
but
for something with that, though.
yeah. Uh, after a few weeks, Chris's court-appointed attorney team asked the DA, would they be interested in a plea deal if the death penalty was. Oh, hold on. After a few weeks, Chris's court-appointed attorney team asked if the DA would be interested in a plea deal if the death penalty was removed from the table. And the DA is like, well, why not? So on November 2018, Chris Watts pled guilty to the murders of his wife, Shanann, Bella, Cece, and their unborn son, Nico, a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty, or in exchange for a plea bargain to avoid the death penalty. And 2 weeks later, Chris Watts' sentencing hearing started. He received 3 life sentences plus 86 years. And 4 months later, Chris finally agreed to speak with the agent, which was like a big deal, I guess. He told them that after she came home from Arizona, they kind of had a short conversation and then they slept together. Then they went to sleep. When he woke up to go to work that morning, they got into it, bickering, and he said he was done and didn't want to continue their marriage. So he jumped on top of her and strangled her until she stopped breathing. And this part just chills me to the bone. He then looks to the doorway, and his 4-year-old daughter, Bella, is standing there staring at him.
God.
And she says, what's wrong with mommy?
No.
And Chris says nothing and walks her back to her bedroom. He then took his dead wife, wrapped her in bed sheets to the back seat of his truck, then took his 2 daughters alive and made them sit on top of their dead mother to drive them out to the oil site. He then smothers the youngest and smothers her until
Oh
she
my
stops
God,
breathing.
no.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He does the same thing to the oldest and proceeds to do the same thing with her, then places the girls in separate tanks. He said he was angry at his wife, but took it out on his entire family. And there's a lot of speculation on how involved Nikki, the girlfriend, was involved, or how involved Nikki was. A lot of people asked the agents to look into her, but so far nothing has come to surface involving her. Which I think that Nikki had a lot to do with it. I
Yeah.
think that she kind of planted those seeds of like, if you just get rid of your family, we can start our own family. And that's the story of the Watts family.
What
I'm
a
so sorry.
sick. So he's still alive?
Yep, he's in jail right now. He's probably not enjoying himself.
Yeah, it's probably better that he's alive, so now he has to live with himself.
Yeah,
Piece
yeah.
of garbage. The stupid question.
Okay.
So they say they give you life sentences
Uh-huh.
and you get like multiple ones.
Uh-huh.
What if you die and then you're resuscitated back to life? Is that one of your life sentences out the door and then you just have 2 more left?
No.
Is it like lives in a video game?
So,
Because that's a life, like you died.
so I looked it up one time and I read that a life sentence is actually only 25 years.
Huh, okay. So like 75 years plus 86 years, if
Correct.
ish. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna die a couple times so that I can get out of jail.
Just like
They'll
almost die.
resuscitate me. Yeah. Just make
Yeah.
sure you have your DNR. Not. Don't have a
Uh,
DNR.
yeah, so it says here in the United States, people serving a life sentence are eligible for parole after 25 years.
Ah, they're eligible,
So,
but that doesn't mean they're actually going to get paroled.
correct. But it's, I mean, if you have good behavior and stuff like that, then
I feel so bad for my tenant right now.
because you're crying.
No, because my children are so loud upstairs. I hope you're not picking any of this up,
I
but
can't
they're
hear it.
so loud. Every little step.
I
I can
love
hear
it.
doop 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 back and forth.
I love it.
Hold on a second. Let me look for a neighborhood story real quick.
I made spaghetti for dinner, but I'm
Oh, you
smelling
did.
something else. I don't know what Rick cooked. Or didn't he? He never eats my spaghetti. He doesn't like spaghetti
What?
that much. He doesn't like red
What?
sauce.
I love spaghetti.
Me too.
Does it give him heartburn?
Yeah.
Um, so we're gonna record on Friday and Saturday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I have to call. I'm gonna give him a call tomorrow.
Did he not text you back still?
No. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure he had like a busy week this week too, though.
that makes sense.
Let's see.
I'm such a baby. I'd probably call his wife instead. Like, is everything all right?
I mean, I know him. He's a good guy. I just don't want to
Push
I
him.
don't want to interrupt him if he's doing something.
Yeah.
Ugh. I swear I've read like every single one of these.
ASMR. I told Katie and Ryan that we named a episode after Ryan.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they thought it was funny. Like I
That's
waited
like
till the timing was right, you know.
that's like one of my favorite titles.
They're like, "Wait,
Yakking someone
why?"
else's Ryan's yum.
Yeah. And I was like, "Because he ate like English muffins one time dry, and that's so gross." They're like, "There's nothing wrong with that." And I was like, "But it's gross." They thought it was funny.
I'm still looking. Hang on. I'm
You're
sorry.
good, dog.
I'm also sorry for sniffling in your ear so much.
You actually hardly did it this episode until you started crying.
I didn't cry. I had something inside my eye.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Ah, everything's about sex or yelling.
What's wrong with yelling?
Because I'm not sure if a lot of these I've already done.
Oh. Do you want me to see if I have one that I can send to you?
Yeah.
Thank you for the $7.
You're welcome. Okay, here I got one.
Okay.
Okay, this is a note that someone left on their neighbor's vehicle.
Oh,
The parking spot you are occupying is reserved for me. I have photographed your license plate, but have not called for the tow truck. This time. Next time, I will Vaseline your door handles
oh my
and wiper
gosh.
blades, then call the tow truck. Sounds fair? Right. Enjoy your close call tonight.
Yeah. We could just be a little bit nicer. Maybe they
You
didn't
like,
know.
yeah, like we're gonna put Vaseline all over you. That's gross.
Well, it's slippery.
Why do you have that much Vaseline?
Yeah, why do you have that much Vaseline?
Yeah, ew, why do you? Gross. That's just gross. You're
Gross.
gross.
You know what? We're turning this back on you. Don't be gross.
Yeah, Wanda.
Wanda.
I don't know.
All right.
So, yeah, we're gonna go. I gotta go have a big sniffle up my nose. So, you know where to listen
Fun.
to us. I'm gonna sound like I'm snorting some cocaine. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, wherever you get your
Google.
podcast, and Google. Please rate and review us on iTunes. You can also do that on Spotify and review us if I didn't say that already. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself a lot. Uh, Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter,
Snapchat.
Snapchat. Uh, I think I'm missing one. We also have
You're
a
good, dog.
Facebook group where you can join in and have fun with us. We also post lots of stuff in there,
Mm-hmm.
play games, and talk about different true crime, paranormal things that happen, or just anything. I think I posted about something random today, but we just have a good time. We have a website, what'swiththeneighbors.com.
And on there, you can find a link to everything that she just mentioned, along with a link to our Patreon, which is patreon.com/WWTN podcast. On there, for $5 a month, you can be a Patreon donor and get our episodes videoed, unedited, and early with exclusive content. For $3 a month, you can get our edited audio episodes early and exclusive content. And it's only $5 or $3 a month. And you
And
can
there's a new,
also
I just got a notification that there's a new cool payment method. I don't know what it means, but I just
cool
got a notification
payment.
for it. So I don't know.
You can be cool and use the cool payment method.
Yeah.
And also check out our website and check out our merch. And also in our Facebook group, we have exclusive Facebook only members merchandise. Check that
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Uh, Super cool and very exclusive.
And listener stories.
So feel free to slide into our DMs with any questions, comments, or story suggestions, along with your own true crime, paranormal, or whatever spooky stories that you would like to share with us. It doesn't have to involve you personally. If you know someone that it happened to, let us know. Or if something terrible happened in your neighborhood or in your hometown, we want to hear about it.
Yeah, if that guy was your neighbor, let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. And also neighborhood stories, please. If you have a neighbor that was like awful and would only like shovel their side of the steps, we want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We
www
really trying to get some more neighborhood stories in right now, guys.
yeah. wwtnpodcast@gmail.com. And have you checked in on the neighbors?
What's with the neighbors?
Breen,
Green, Amy,
my
out.
neighbor has COVID.
Oh, yeah,
Not
gross.
anymore though. Oh. You need to use the force. Oh, we need droids, dude.
I saw. They look so cool.
They're a
I
lot
want to
of fun.
play
And
with them.
when you put them right next to each other, if they just sit there for a minute, they'll talk to each other.
Nuh-uh. They're so cute. Do they
I
have
know.
names?
I forgot what Alice named hers, but I named mine. I think his name is Norm
I love it. That's cute.
because it's short. It means bald.
Really? That makes so much sense. There's so many bald guys named Norm.
There you go. That's what it is. Anyways, all right.
Oh,
I'll talk to you later, buddy.
say hi to your cats for us.
Oh yes, I have to your cats first. What's with
Meow.
your neighbors? Sound like you're eating food. Bye.
Oh, bye.